Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me on Facebook for this midday meditation. Each Tuesday and Thursday, Rula and I will be doing meditations at the noon hour, and I'll be doing today, and Rula will take care of this Thursday. Glad you could join. Some years ago, when I was younger and my children were younger, I'd be taking my two older daughters to junior high school, and I remember I dropped them off, and about that time there was a song that was popular by the Black Eyed Peas called Let's Get It Started. And it went, let's get it started in here. It had a great rhythm, so you just wanted to sing along to it. And at the beginning, some of the lyrics went like this: disconnect from the intellect and let's get stupid. And as I thought about it, I thought, well, that's probably not the best music to hear just before you're going to school. It's probably not the best lyrics for finding inspiration to study hard and to stay focused. But then again, maybe knowledge isn't all that it's cracked up to be. 1 Corinthians 8, Paul writes, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Anyone who claims to know something does not yet have the necessary knowledge. But anyone who loves God is known by God. So the context for these words was was food offered to idols. Now, in these ancient times in the Roman Empire, there were many idols and many temples, and food would be offered as a sacrifice. And then there was a place in the temple where people could eat this food. So it was a nice little restaurant. You could eat the food that had been offered to the idols. And for many Christians, this was considered prohibited. You did not eat food offered to idols. For instance, you read in the book of Revelation the condemnation of any Christians eating food that had been offered to idols, because that was a compromise. That was engaging in an evil practice that was propagated by an evil empire. But then other Christians, having the knowledge that these idols that the food was offered to were nothing, right? They did not exist, and so there was nothing wrong with the food. It didn't make it bad in any way if it were offered to an idol. If it was good food, you just ate it. And so that's the way Paul thought about it. He had a certain freedom with this knowledge that he had that these idols did not mean anything, and that there was only one true God. So with this knowledge, he was glad to eat food offered to idols, except if he was in the presence of people who thought otherwise. And then he would not use his freedom that this knowledge gave him and eat idols. He would refrain from eating food offered to idols, because he did not want to offend these people. So here we see a tension that all societies, all cultures have to negotiate, and that is this tension between individual freedom and community health. So these are two ends of a spectrum, and we have to kind of find our way on this spectrum somewhere. So for instance, in the United States of America, we ask the question, how should resources be distributed? Should it be on a merit-based system, having to do with individual achievement, or should it be on a need-based system, based on someone's level of need? And so we're talking about money, water, food, material possessions. How should these be distributed? Now, in a free market enterprise capitalistic system that's pure capitalism, then it's going to be on a pure merit-based system, right? Individual achievement. You get what you earn, and that's it. In a fully communistic system, it's going to be based fully on what your particular needs are, where everything is there then shared based on need. And the question that, the basic philosophical question that underlies this is, how do we deal with human diversity in community? People are different. They have different abilities. They have different knowledge. And we know that intelligence is different. Some people have intelligence in regard to academics. Some people have intelligence in regards to relationships. There's all kinds of different intelligences. And how do we deal with this diversity? Because this diversity creates, for instance, in regard to income and money, it creates a lot of inequality. Well, how healthy do you want the community to be? How healthy do you want the relationships to be? That governs where you want to be on this scale between achievement and need. Paul, you got to get an idea of where Paul falls here, because he says knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Love supports and nourishes relationship, whereas knowledge can be the source of pride, can be the source of greed, and it just builds up the individual. But love is all about the relationships and the community. In our personal relationships, we become addicted to being right, don't we? But sometimes the question becomes, do you want to be right, or do you want to be in relationship? That's something to consider whenever we are in disagreement, whether that disagreement is taking place in the context of a marriage or in the context of a community of citizens who call themselves American. Do we want to be right, or do we want to be in relationship? Ponder that question in your own life this day and this week, and may God bless you.